Thank you for allowing me today to come into your home and share with you the wonderful news of the coming kingdom of God. The Bible tells us that the kingdom of man is coming to an end. It will have a termination point. And that the kingdom of God is coming. And those of us who have trusted in the King, those of us who have trusted in His Son, Jesus, that's the great hope that we have. Every time we say the Lord's Prayer, we say, "Your kingdom come." I pray that prayer almost every day. And when I get to that part, I say, "Lord, I want you, and I'm asking you to send your Son, Jesus, to the world. You have said that your kingdom was going to take over. And I'm praying that Jesus will come back." The Bible tells us over and over and over again that Jesus is coming again. And those of us who have trusted in Him, that's our hope. And you know, if you've got any other hope in the world, you need to forsake it. You need to give it up. Because there is no other hope. It doesn't matter if it's a kingdom, a nation, a country, an individual, a family. If your hope is placed in any other person or any other entity, it can be government. It can be that check that you get every month. It can be the military strength. It can be the security of the borders. Whatever it is, it's ill-placed. And we're seeing that more and more and more as we as individuals look at where our country is going. What's going to happen to the United States of America? When I grew up in eastern Kentucky, we were the bastion of absolutely every single development on earth. I mean, militarily, we were without peer. We're seeing that threatened today. China is coming. China has doubled her defense budget every year for the last 15 years. We are hearing today, and reports are coming out of that part of the world, that North Korea is manufacturing torpedoes and mines that are capable of carrying nuclear warheads. The big aircraft carriers that have been located there in that part of the world are there in the Persian Gulf today. Have been the absolute symbol of United States dominance in military affairs for generations. But they become, they no longer have that influence, because you see, they could be destroyed with one nuclear mine, one torpedo. And so it's, warfare is changing. Nobody knows where it's going. But 5 years ago, there was only one superpower in the United States. But now that's in question. You think about it, technologically, what do we give the world? We gave the world the telephone, the steam engine, the internal combustion engine, the automobile, the airplane, the cell phone, before that the telephone, the computer. We set the pace for the rest of the world. This was the United States of America. We were proud of who we were. And we went ahead with in every area, economically, technologically, militarily, even in the areas of freedom and human rights. They sought, people from all over the world dreamed of coming to the United States. My wife, who grew up in Panama, dreamed, and her dream has been fulfilled, of someday coming to the United States. because of what we offered and because of who we were. I was in a high school the other day, and it was a high school in another state, and it was for children who were special in intellectually, and it was a scientific school. And across the poster on the wall, I couldn't help but read, history is something you argue about. Well, we didn't argue about it because we knew who we were. When we read our history books, we knew where we came from. But today, our children don't know, because history is something that you argue about. But it isn't. What took place, took place. But what we're seeing in this country is scary, because you see, history is what the political agenda wants it to be. And we're seeing that with the present administration. We're seeing it. We're seeing it, and it's been in our universities and colleges for years, decades, trying to rewrite the fact that this was a country that was founded by people who came here seeking freedom from religious persecution, and who came here to have the freedom to worship God. That's who we were. But what will we be like tomorrow? It reminds me of that statement about Russia, that even in Russia, that even the past is uncertain, because it's written by those in power to advance their political philosophy. But thank God the truth's the truth, and it's going to stand when the world's on fire. And all we need today, but you know, the truth today is politically incorrect. You don't want to be one of those fanatics who just, doesn't, we're unlearned. We don't know very much, Well, let me tell you something. God is God, and God has a people. And if you have your faith in Jesus Christ, that is the only place that it's going to do you any good. If you don't have your faith in Jesus, you can depend on any other thing. I mean, anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It's sinking sand. It's floating on an ocean without boundaries and without a bottom. And that's where the world is today, because we have forsaken the absolute standards with the theory of relativity and all of that has invaded our universities and colleges, and to the extent that nobody, anything is okay. But that isn't what we grew up believing, because we believed, even though we parted from what God had written in His Word, that this was an absolute standard we could count on. That's who we were. We broke those laws and commandments. And I think of my own life, and I do this sometimes, I think, God, if my life stands for anything, it stands for the proposition that God's mercy knows no boundaries. Because I've been there and I've done it. And I trust not in anything that I can do, but only in what He did and who He is. And that's where we've got to put our faith today. We look at our country. How did this happen? I mean, did this just pop out of the sky, this great nation? Was it just one of those historical incidents that would, that if given an infinite number of possibilities, everything has to occur an infinite number of times? I've heard these philosophers talk this junk. But we are here for a reason. God planted this country to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we have done that. And sometimes I remind God when I think about the judgment in my heart that I know is coming to our country. I say, God, just remember. We sent the missionaries. We made a difference. Well, you know, God told Israel, He said, I've chosen you. But if you rebel against me, you will be cursed. And that stands for the United States. The United States as a nation has no covenant with God, no promise. Israel has all the promises. You and I as believers, Gentile believers, we share in those promises because we have accepted Christ. And Christ is the end of the curse. But as a nation, we don't have it. It isn't there. We look at where this country came from, and it came from it was a product of the Reformation. That time, Europe went to sleep one night, 80% or 100% Catholic. Woke up the next morning, 80% Protestant. It happened that quickly. And God can make a difference today. He can change things today, but the only answer that we have in this country, the only one, is prayer. And faith in God. That is all there is left. And so the church no longer became the authority to the people who came here. Government was not the authority. They relied on the scriptures as their authority. This was the thing they could count on. I had a fellow come into my office the other day, and he said something that really shook me. He said, "Well, I'm not a Christian," and I knew what he meant. I knew that he meant, well, I know the right thing to do, but I haven't done it.